Subscribe to our YouTube channel for in-depth interviews of India Inc. and press the bell icon so that you do not miss our updates.
Hello and welcome to Nirmal, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Hiral Dadia. We have with us Sunil, Gala, MD and CEO at Navneet Education, joining in. Welcome to the show, Sunil. Pleasure to speak to you once again amidst these unprecedented times. Sunil, education is one sector that is yet not out of the woods. And I think the way people have been talking about travel and tourism, I think education is also going to be amongst those far and few sectors that are going to be out of the woods, the last. What's the sense that you pick up in the last, 8 to 9 months since the time we've been in the lockdown? How has this journey been now?
So as far as Navneet is, first let me talk about education. You
Mm.
are very right. You are very right that school across India have not started yet or have started with only few grades, that is from ninth to 12th grade. And that too, it started in the month of around November end. So as we speak, the two states that we operate majorly from, schools of these grades have started already. Occupancy level is around 70% for these grades.
Mm.
But beyond, other than these four grades, 9 to 12, no schools have started at all.
Correct.
Uh, Coming back to business front, unfortunately, what I mean is that way we are fortunate to be in SSC medium,
Mm.
but unfortunately, these schools have really not started even online or very basics with basic facility that they had started. Uh, Most of the students still are in vacation mood, and therefore for them to buy supplementary products or stationary products uh, has not been insisted by schools yet, and therefore we are not really seeing great. Even third quarter also will be quite low from that aspect. So overall, for the year, we are now seeing uh, around 50% degrowth in our publishing business, and similar degrowth will be there in our domestic stationery business. Uh, Only silver lining was our exports. The loss of 45 odd days that we had in the initial period, that loss continues, but otherwise, around 90% of the revenue that we had achieved last year will be able to achieve that. So, net, I would say at a company level, the most profitable business, and it will be reduced by around 50%. Earlier, though, I was saying around 30% reduction, but
Mm.
unfortunately, schools are not opening. So it's not in our hand. If it would have opened in the month of October, November, as uh, declared earlier, we would have definitely achieved that number. But now the situation is very different.
Right. So, Sunil, what's the sense you're picking up? Because earlier, majority of the managements were expecting that the schools will start reopening from November in a phased manner, and then probably that the academic year will get extended beyond March. But now, given the delayed start to the academic year, that also not in totality, by when are you expecting, or when are schools expecting to restart now?
Again, it will depend from city to city. For city like Mumbai, Pune, we really doubt that any other standards they will start before the next academic year.
Mm.
But for the other cities or small towns, we are hearing that from again grade 5 to grade 8, they will start from the month of end January or early February. So that are the news at present that we have. Uh, Pre-primary and primary, that is up to grade 4, I really am very confident now that no schools will open in the current year. So all will fall back to the next academic year only, that is around June 21. That is the timelines that we are foreseeing now. But having said that, if something unfortunate again does not happen, we are very confident while talking to schools. We are very confident also that next academic year will be as smooth as the earlier years.
Hmm. Right. So with this, as you mentioned earlier as well, it's the SSC board which has lagged behind somewhere, even on the digital front. You have all the others, say ICSE, CBSE, IB, IGCSE, all the other boards have adopted digital education. Do you
Right.
think this actually calls for a massive change in the education policy with regards the SSC board?
Uh, Definitely it requires, but ground reality is when we look at it very deeply, doesn't look possible,
Hmm.
even if education policy is changed. So I can tell you a couple of things. One, the SSC schools for them building infrastructure accordingly could be a challenge. If funded by state government, then it is fine. Then comes teachers. Are they mentally ready? Are they physically ready to teach everything online or digitally? We see tremendous resistance at that level also. And finally, when it comes to end users, that is students, they most of them, I would say more than 85-90% of them, they live in such a small houses. For them to receive education or concentrate on education becomes highly impossible while seated at home. So what finally will it imply that the usage of digital education in the school will increase tremendously. But if we talk about online education, sitting at home looks very, very challenging for SSC medium.
Right. But going ahead as well, if you have to talk about the new education policy, do you think there is a need to increase the spends on education out of the total government expenditure now?
Definitely, lots and lots to be yet done to improve the quality of education, infrastructure in education. Lots and lots to be done. Teacher training, one of the biggest expenditure, that also needs to increase. And of course, simultaneously, efforts also need to increase by the state government or central government. So, lot, of course, spending more on education, I think it is no brainer. All state and central government will have to decide on that.
Right. Another aspect, Sunil, is, from those early morning rushes of waking up, getting ready, rushing to the school bus, reaching on time, it's now reached to ease of logging in with a click of a button with or probably without a school uniform worn in full. Uh, Clearly, COVID has actually brought in a fresh wave. Do you think a digital upsurge in the entire education sector is a must, taking these changes?
No, particularly on online, I will not agree. On
Mm,
digital, if you ask me, yes, that is must. But in this school,
mm,
if we talk about learning from home, uh, children really loses out on many other aspects of their life, of their development. So their social development, their physical development, everything is then will be at cost. So I do not think that is a good solution for on a long-term basis, particularly online education.
mm.
But as I said, digital education implementation in the school will be very, very much required.
Right. And then, a lot of focus is now shifting to, say, concept based learning. And a lot of teachers have started to follow a do it yourself practice so that children become self reliant, taking the circumstances into consideration. So, do you think an additional bit to the curriculum, especially for the SSC board, is something which needs to be changed or needs to be added?
I agree that it needs to be added, but implementing that in SSC school for to us looks very, very big challenge.
Mm,
Implementing by the state governments and accepting, adopting by the schools themselves or teachers, that looks very, very challenging. So I think over a period of very long term, if one or two things are added every year, then SSC schools may be able to adopt it. But if they see the change drastically immediately, it will not be. They will not be able to cope with it. So, what concept-based learning that you are mentioning, it's true for all other mediums, CBSE, ICSE, but for SSE, still we somehow do not see that happening.
Right. And then, Sunil, as you mentioned that, yes, it's an unfortunate thing that the schools have not yet opened. And I mean, nothing that companies like Navneet can really do about it. But next academic year, once the schools reopen, will that year be as normal as FY20, FY19, the previous years?
Yeah, I said that in between. We are very sure, and the reason of we being sure that most of the schools are talking about it, even state government authorities, they are talking about it. Next year has to be as normal. It has to be as normal as it was earlier.
Right. And in terms of the receivable days as well, that has gone up substantially, I think more than doubled already. What's the reason for that?
Which number are you comparing,
The
Hiral?
receivable days were in September 2019, we were at around 41 days, and September 2020, it's gone up to around 95.
Oh, so that is change of, I would say, mix. One is product mix. You are looking at a company level. Here,
Correct.
our
Company
receivable,
level.
yeah,
Yes.
our receivable in print publication is quite lower than stationery.
Mm,
Publication business did not happen, so you really do not see sales as well as receivable is
correct.
not. Major receivables are of for exports of stationery, where we give around 90 odd days. So that you would, because of that product mix, you would see that. But
Right.
otherwise, uh, for each respective business that we are in, we are not seeing any strengthening or more receivable days. It is all under control.
Right. And overall, in terms of where the EdTech digital initiatives are concerned, where is the focus going to be from here on for Navneet?
Oh, a lot many things that we are planning, implementing as well. So apart from the SSC curriculum that we were in EdTech, uh, very soon for the next academic year, I would say,
Mm,
CBSE products are also being launched, uh, which includes there are a couple of things in CBSE that we are launching.
mm,
Uh, Apart from them, a couple of platforms that we will be launching with, which helps not only in the school or coaching classes, but also to an individual teachers, tutors to impart education, particularly online. And if not online, at least through a good platform, they can deliver or they can teach to the students. Uh, we are also will be in next couple of months, we will be out for an excellent platform for small children. So we call it 0 to 8. So
mm.
for that children category or age category also, Navneet will be out with an excellent platform. That having said that, that can be used by the schools themselves, or rather the play schools themselves, or at home. The interested parents can take their students through that platform, so that apart from what they have learned in the school or play schools, they'll be able to learn much more in depth. So all these things are planned already, and in next couple of months we'll have all these offerings in the market.
Right. So, what's the kind of capex that we are looking at?
So this year, starting from January for next 1 year, we are looking at around 60 odd crores capex just on a tech front. Apart from that, we are also looking at investing in few tech companies
Mm.
that are relevant to us. All put together, we have planned to invest around 100 crores in this calendar year.
Right. So 100 crores is one. And any fundraising plans that could be on the
No,
annual?
no, 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 no. We have enough reserves.
Hmm.
Uh, so I don't think so. We need to go out in the market to and raise money.
Right. Apart from that, right now all the reliance is somewhere on the export business with regards to stationery. Do you think somewhere exports will be able to compensate the loss that we would see in the domestic business?
Not in the current year, Hiral, but
Mhm.
going forward, for sure. Going forward, of course, I'm not saying that domestic business
Correct.
will see a degrowth, but the growth in exports will be much faster. This is the field that we are getting. The lots and lots of inquiries have already started coming in, uh, but suddenly we cannot increase our production capacity. And
Hmm.
for increasing production capacity, we have already planned uh, uh, investments. And once that is ready, next couple of months, for next financial year, that is 21-22, we are again very hopeful that growth will start from there on. And we see that long term, we will see good growth in exports of stationery.
Right. And currently, with regards to exports, we've been hearing that there are a lot of concerns coming in with the availability of containers right now, and the freight rates have been going high. Is that something which is impacting the export business as well?
Touchwood, not to us much because our major exports are to the US,
Okay.
and there it is frankly the responsibility of the buyer to arrange for the containers, as well as we offer always them FOB. So irrespective of prices going up, freight costs going up, it does not really matter to Navneet.
Right. And very lastly, Sunil, what's the kind of overall outlook you have for 21? Overall business, what's the kind of degrowth expectation? And will we be able to maintain margins at that 19 to 20% bracket?
So overall, as I mentioned earlier, we see degrowth of around 50% in publishing and domestic stationery, and we will see around degrowth of 10 odd percent in exports
Hmm.
because of the first 45 days that we lost. But obvious with these lower numbers, expecting same margins to continue is not appropriate or not possible. Uh, but we will see a dip of around 3 to 4% margin because of certain fixed expenditure that the
Hmm.
company.
Hmm.
So there will be around 3 to 4% dip in margin.
Right. All right, Sunil. Thank you so much for sharing the information and your outlook, and hoping that things get on track for everyone. Schools restart. I think all parents are also waiting to send all their children back to school. Don't know how children are going to react meeting so many people suddenly, but hoping that things get on back as soon as possible and everyone sees a bounce back soon. Thank you so much. Stay safe and good luck.
Thank you, Hiral. Thank you.